You know all those ancient beauty secrets you hear about? Ever wonder if there's any truth to them? Well, today, we're diving into one of the most famous of all time, pearl powder. For centuries, it was the go-to for empresses and queens. But is it just a story? In this explainer, we're going to put that legend under the microscope and see what modern science has to say. So, listen to this. That quote is from a lady-in-waiting describing one of the most powerful women in Chinese history, the Empress Dowager Cixi. And she said this when the Empress was 60 years old, an age when, let's be honest, time has usually left its mark. Yet Cici's skin was famously perfect. So what was her big secret? It turns out it was a lifelong, incredibly meticulous obsession with pearl powder. Empress Cixi ruled China during the Qing Dynasty, and believe me, the imperial records are full of this stuff. She didn't just use pearl powder, she built her entire beauty philosophy around it. She was convinced it was the key to keeping her energy up and maintaining what she called her timeless beauty. And get this, Cixi wasn't some outlier. The idea of using pearl powder for beauty is an ancient tradition that pops up all over the world. We're talking Cleopatra in Egypt, young Guifei, one of China's legendary four great beauties. The belief in the power of the pearl goes way, way back. In China alone, they've been cultivating pearls for this very reason since the Southern Song Dynasty. Okay, so how exactly did she use it? This wasn't just, a casual sprinkle of powder now and then. Nope. This was a super systematic, deeply dedicated part of her daily life, right at the heart of the imperial court. She had a whole three-part system. First, she took it internally, swallowed a spoonful every single night. She believed it nourished her skin from the inside out. Second, she used it on her skin as a face mask. And third, and this is the part that blows my mind, she set up an entire department in the palace just for her pearl skincare. Talk about commitment, right? And you better believe she demanded the best of the best. The Qing Imperial Medical Archives describe her standards in crazy detail. She would only use the absolute finest freshwater pearls. They had to be coreless and have this perfect pinkish-white color, and the powder had to be so fine that it would just dissolve in water and you couldn't even feel it on your tongue. This all sounds incredible, but it really makes you ask the question, is there anything to this? Or was this just an elaborate myth made up by a super powerful ruler? I mean, could a ground-up pearl really keep your skin looking young? To figure that out, we have to leave the palace and head into the modern laboratory. All right, let's see what happens when we take this ancient wisdom and check it out with the tools of modern molecular science. First, let's meet the main character in the story of skin color, a molecule called melanin. Melanin is basically the pigment that gives our skin its color. It's great for protecting us from the sun, but when your body makes too much of it, you get things like dark spots and what we call hyperpigmentation. So pretty much any skin whitening or brightening product is really just trying to get melanin production under control. So when scientists started looking at pearl powder, they managed to isolate what they think is the active ingredient, the real magic component. It's a specific protein called Hydrolyzed Conchiolin Protein, or just HCP for short. So the big question is, what does this HCP actually do? To get that, we need to know about one more player, an enzyme called tyrosinase. The easiest way to think about tyrosinase is as the master switch for making melanin. When your skin cells get triggered, say by sunlight, this enzyme goes into overdrive and tells the cells, make more melanin now. So, if you want to control melanin, you have to control tyrosinase. Okay, now that we know who the key players are, let's get to the good stuff, the evidence. Scientists took this pearl protein, HCP, and tested it on human skin cells in a lab to see what would happen. And the results were, well, pretty dramatic. You can see here, the stimulated cells are just churning out melanin. But when they added the pearl protein, bam, melanin production was cut by more than half. That is a massive drop. But how did it do it? Well, this next slide shows us exactly how. Remember that tyrosinase enzyme, the master switch? The study found that HCP goes right for it. You can see the tyrosinase activity is sky high in the stimulated cells, but with the pearl protein, that activity drops significantly. It's like HCP finds the main control panel and just turns down the production dial. But it gets even crazier. The effect goes deeper. It actually works at a genetic level. The study found that HCP suppresses the very genes that hold the instructions for making melanin in the first place. So it's not just dimming the switch, it's telling the cell's operating system to chill out. For a traditional remedy, that's a pretty remarkable finding. So let's bring it all back together. Let's connect the dots between the legend of the Empress and the hard data from the lab. When you put them side by side, it's pretty wild. The legend says pearl powder gave Cixi that smooth, maiden-like skin. The science shows its key protein cuts down melanin, which is the main cause of age spots and uneven skin. Cixi took it every day to keep her beauty. The science shows it works by blocking the main enzyme needed to create pigment. She believed it purified her from the inside out. The science shows it works at the most fundamental level of all, our genes. So, what's the final verdict? Empress Cixi wasn't just following some old myth. Her centuries-old beauty secret, that incredibly dedicated regimen, turns out to have a real, provable basis in modern molecular biology. The ancient wisdom from the imperial court actually holds up in the lab. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? How many other ancient remedies that we've maybe dismissed as just folklore are out there, just waiting for science to finally catch up and show us how they really work?